I'm alive. I was born and raised in East Dalton. I got, like Brad said, I was in the Army right out of high school. Thinking I was be a warrant officer flight pilot. That went to hell in a handbag real fast. And so I went into explosive ordnance disposal. You know, some people know it as bomb disposal or what have you. I have to say that my entire career in the Army, because I'm retired Army, retired as a sergeant major, was that the EOD program was like a family to me. The family was my wife. She was, when I had my own detachment of 12 guys, she was the mother of the detachment stuff. But it always taught me a lot. And what it taught me was that the first thing that your priority is your people come first, the safety of the people come first, then accomplishing the mission as best you can. I've been fortunate. I've traveled the world. I've blown stuff up on every continent in the world except for Antarctica, which I have no desire to go to. I've worked on improvised explosive devices from Europe to the Mideast, and I've got all my fingers and toes. After I retired, though, I stayed in the explosive business as I tried to, you know, I'm just an Army guy. No one wants to hire me, but so I got into my education. Got my master's in environmental science out of SIU. But it still wasn't going anywhere, so I got my doctorate, which, by the way, don't ever do that because it doesn't pay for itself in the end. No one wanted to hire me because I hadn't published and I had no experience in academia. So for that. But nonetheless, I stayed in the explosive business and I did quite well for myself. I mean, as far as my profession is concerned. Here about 10 years ago, I retired. A bunch of old war injuries and just injuries in general caught up to me, and I just couldn't play with the young guys like I was. But it seems like this last 5 years, it's been this whole new opening for me. I do a lot of volunteer work. I do some volunteer work for the Madison County Public Health. I try to volunteer to the regional hazardous material team. For 2 years, I was the science officer on the ILEAS Weapons of Mass Destruction Tactical Team. That's the one whenever you see, hey, SWAT teams got called out here in Madison County. It's that group. Their original mission was supposed to be to respond to a terrorist that had a weapon of mass destruction of some kind, but they do more just SWAT stuff than anything else. Did 2 great years with those guys until the Granite City, they rotated, Granite City Police took over as command of it, and because I wasn't a certified law enforcement officer or fire department guy, they said we can't use you. But in the meantime, you know, other stuff popped up. I've made trips back to Vietnam 3 times in the last 5 years. I want to say this right now, I'm a Vietnam veteran also, and my first trip back was a tad bit, you know, a little, it wasn't frightening, but you know, I didn't know exactly what to expect. So let me say this, if you want to go to a country, you want to go someplace on a vacation that's exotic, that's ungodly cheap, got the most friendly people in the whole wide world, and one of the probably most beautiful countries in the world, go to Vietnam. You'll find it's a little bit different. Hanoi is a little colder, so to speak, a little more formal. Then you drop down to Hue, which is just south of the what used to be the demilitarized zone. It's a very progressive city. They're getting all kinds of stuff going in and out there. And then you go down to Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh City, and it's like you walked into some kind of Disneyland. Everybody talks about, you know, about the communist. Yeah, they're a communist country, but socialism is alive and well there. People will come up to you and say, "Can I talk to you?" Of course, you know, yeah, right. You know, when you want to talk, I go, "I just want to practice my English." Okay. Some old guy will walk up to you and say, and he'll look at you and go, "Were you in the war?" And you, yeah. He goes, "I was too. Where were you?" And it's like he starts handshaking. You can go all the rest of it. What I've gone back to do, though, is to assist on the removal of unexploded ordnance in Vietnam. To this day, every year, as a matter of fact, last year was the lowest. It finally got dropped below 10,000. 10,000 people a year are killed or maimed by unexploded ordnance in Vietnam. Mostly it's farmers and some of it, I think they call them indigenous personnel. Indigenous are wrong. They're part of the ethnic tribes. There's 15 ethnic tribes in Vietnam. Like our American Indian. Vietnamese still don't treat them real well, but you know they do provide them some help. But these guys go out and they go scrap dealing. They find an unexploded bomb, They'll do just like the VC did during the war. They'll knock the fuse off, they'll get a hacksaw, cut it in half, take out the explosives, and haul the steel off to be sold somewhere. Sometimes it's farmers are out there trying to put in a new rice paddy. Next thing you know, they find all these little baseball things laying around. Well, those are sub-munitions, or what we call improved conventional munitions. They would drop thousands of them out of a single bomblet. And next thing you know, the ox gets killed, the plow gets blown away, and this guy loses his leg. So my last 3 trips have been back there, either one, doing some training, or 2, during trying to do a survey of what's the best way to find all this stuff. And it's a technology that is, every year something new pops up. But Vietnam is a beautiful country. Yeah, look at the pictures, didn't believe it. This last time, though, I took my son with me because I figured, I'm not going to be making another trip back. Instead of getting up there in the years, so he went with me, and we started out in Hanoi. Went and did the meet and greet with the people that I had to go with, and then he talked me into going to the Perfume Pagoda. Now, I've never had a desire to go to pagodas or what have you, but it's the oldest pagoda, Buddhist pagoda, inside a cave in the world. It's a 2-hour bus ride out, then it's an hour boat ride, rowboat ride that is, up to the temple. Then you walk up these massive slopes, only to turn around and go down. And it's just breathtaking. That's all I can say. So there's, I'm walking up. I'm going, it's another 3 kilometers to the top there. And I'm, I can't do it. My son, he's, oh, come on, Dad, come on, we'll take it easy, and I don't know. And this guy turns, well, why don't you just take the tram? What tram? Well, the one that started over down there. It stops up here, like that. I go, yeah, right. So we took the tram the rest of the way up. Again, it's a beautiful view. So one thing, never take your younger son someplace that you're going to do a lot of walking and hill climbing. The thing about this place that I get my Buddhist holidays turned around here, but on this one holiday, they have 1 million people per day come to this. The Buddhists are real big about going to certain temples, and how they fit that many people into this area, I don't know. But again, it is
probably on the tram.
Huh?
Probably on the tram.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to figure out how many rowboats you got going down this river. So, but and it's great, and the Vietnamese food, it's pretty decent. I mean, it's like every place you go, something different to it. So I say that about Vietnam. Of course, we've now signed new peace accords and trade agreements with them and everything. And I think, maybe 15, 20 years ago, I might have said, yeah, bull. But, I think so. I think it was the right thing to do. I think it's a time in that part of the world where we need some more allies, because we never know what the Philippines are going to do to us. One day they're our buddies, next day they kick us out, then we're back, now they don't know what to do. Now, having said that, I don't like the Philippines. I've been there a couple times, and it's not my favorite place to go to. Right now, Vietnam, as strange as it may sound, Vietnam has no internal major crimes. You never hear of murders. You never hear of bank robberies. You got the petty crimes, somebody stealing stuff going on over there, because they have a zero tolerance to it. You shoot somebody, you kill somebody, you steal from them, you go to the camp, and you become a better person. They do have some issues coming. They've had their wars with Cambodia and along Laos, and there's some issues that are starting out, especially from northern Laos coming into the northern part of that part of Vietnam. Any idea what that problem could be? Huh? Oh, yeah, drugs is another subject. Yeah. But that's a good one. But there's something else, something that you probably don't think of in that part of the world. It's the movement of Islamic fundamentalists into the area. Now, where the hell do these guys come from? This is the jungles of Vietnam. Yeah. But there's a move going through Laos that's actually coming out of Burma or Myanmar, or whatever you want to call it now, which moves into that area. Now, I bring that up because Vietnam they don't want to see what's going on there that's going on in Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand. So they have taken a very, very strong stance on it. I said Burma and Myanmar. I did not know this until, because I put them sort of like in line with North Korea. They're the last of the really hardcore. They're not really communists. They're just assholes. I mean that's the easiest way to put it. So they have
a technical term.
Yeah, it's a very technical geographical term that's used. But anyway, they have an influx going on. When you hear about their guerrilla actions going on, you think it's the down populace trying to take away from the government. Well, that is part of it. But actually, what it is that there's an Islamic movement there that them and the Buddhists are like bumping heads together. Now, I kind of think, a Buddhist, the guys in the robes, they can make little ringing sounds when they go around in the bowls and they burn incense, whatever. I think they're a peaceful bunch of guys, right? Yeah. They are fanatics against the Islamic movement in Burma. You don't get a whole lot out of that. And the only reason I know this is because my most recent trip to Thailand, which was that's my first time back to Thailand, was I got this whole new lecture about it. It's a little over a year or so ago. I got this call. I said, hey, we want you to come to Thailand, and we'd like you to make a presentation to this international group of explosive ordnance disposal technicians from all over Southeast Asia. And I thought, hey, that's great. So I had to make sure the State Department didn't have a problem with it. Oh, it's okay. I really felt honored to be invited to do it. So they wanted me to give them a lecture on weapons of mass destruction in the terrorist environment. And I said, okay, we can do that. Thailand, big deal. Well, again, have to show up over there. So I got there, and I met all these Thai EOD guys, and the first thing they said was, we want to show you around. Have you ever been to Thailand before? Well, no, I hadn't. God, it's a beautiful country. They got one of the most fantastic highway systems through that country. Something I just never expected to see. But then they turned around I was there for like 6 hours. There was a bombing down in this little resort city about 3 hours south of Bangkok where I was supposed to go to. And they said, I said, what's going on? It's the Islamics. They're moving up out of Malaysia into Thailand. And that's why I learned how they, through that whole part of Southeast Asia, and the Malaysia and what have you, and then the Philippines, Indonesia, then Malaysia, and then in Thailand, and then they're not really sure how it all came about in the Philippines. They like to go back to the days when it was what they called the Moors, which, you heard the story that General Pershing supposedly turned around, he was fighting the Moors down there, said, I'm tired of all this bull, so he got one, cut open a pig, and stuck him into the pig and said, there, you guys keep fighting, this is what we're going to do, and they stopped, Actually, that turned out to be an old wives' tale, never really happened. But it was a neat idea. So anyway, as I'm learning all this stuff, I decided to sit down and I go, what is taking place in this part of the world that, as an American, I never really paid that much attention. Well, I knew that, fighting in the jungle, fighting guerrillas, fighting bad guys, I thought it was more against the drug wars. Hell, the drug wars don't even kill each other as much as these guys are anymore, because I guess they get along better. But anyway, I got to look into it, and I was like 65 years old. I got my gray hair and whatever, and all these EOD guys are all coming up to me going, and because somebody told them that I've been doing this for like 45 years. Half these guys weren't 40 years old, and they're all like, oh my God, they're father, whatever. I felt pretty decent sitting there pointing to stuff and grinning at them. But anyway, I got to the point was that this part of the world has a struggle that we in the United States can't comprehend. They're fighting improvised explosive devices that you hear about on TV in Europe, in the Mideast, but they see these things every single day of their life. And one of them, and I'm sitting at dinner, and this talk says, he called me father too, which I kind of said, please, put my mic. If you don't call me father, Mike, that's fine. But anyway, I said, he goes, what are you doing in the United States? I go, well, that's Colonel, what do you mean? He goes, well, you've seen how our tactics and procedures, how we do this. What do you do? And I said, well, I have to be honest. One, I'm not involved with that much in the United States, other than I have some friends in like the St. Louis Regional bomb squad. I go visit them fairly often. You know, they're always taking stuff from here, and some others. I said, but I don't, you know, don't respond to it. But I track our bombings. And they said, well, how many radio-controlled devices do you see? I go, well, you know what? There's not been you know, the last time a radio-controlled explosive device was used in the United States, I mean, any great consequence? It goes back into the late 70s. Serbians out in California, they were the first ones to bring a model airplane kit brought up, and that's how they were killing the Serbs were killing. Who were they killing at the time? They're always killing somebody. I can't remember who they're killing, but the Serbs, Bosnians, the Croats, you know, they're always killing each other. But I told him that. He was like dumbfounded. What do you mean? You know, you don't have this? Yeah, we don't have it. We're starting to see some stuff now and then, but we just don't have the bombings that you have. And they were just dumbfounded the fact that here we are, you know, the big threat, the devil of the world, and no one's trying to bomb us yet. I was very humbled by my whole experience with those guys, because not only do they have the improvised that they're fighting with the Islamic movement coming up, but they also have the unexploded ordnance along their eastern boundary from the war with Cambodia. Again, landmines left all over the freaking place. Something that again we don't. We're probably the only continent in the world that we don't worry about when our farmers go out there, they're going to blow themselves up with. I mean, in Europe, in Germany, and France, they still find stuff left over from World War I there. And I always think about this, and what would happen if we ever had this here? And I don't have a really good answer, because my first thought was, I don't think that as a country, we would be prepared if that type of warfare came to our country. You know, we'd probably lose a number of people, a number of police officer, bomb technicians, that type of thing, before they realize that, hey, you know, our tactics that we use daily here, or we use when they respond to the bombs, isn't going to work. And there's too much restrictions on it. It's interesting that the Thai unit, they have part of their procedures is electronic countermeasures. That is jammers on the radio controlled devices they have. And when I talk radio controlled devices there, they have the little shortwave radios, the 100-something megahertz or the 400 and something, whatever. They find they're used as part of it, and then they find some cell phones are also. That's if they want distance involved in anything. If they want a short range, they use remote controlled door openers or garage door openers. But every time they go on a device, either in their vehicle or this little backpack with like 4 or 5 antennas sticking up, they're jamming all these frequencies, because they know that if they walk up on a package down there and somebody's watching them, that they can fire and kill them. Bomb squads in the United States have electronic countermeasures, but you know that they're forbidden to use them? They cannot use them unless there's a roster. I was just looking at it a couple weeks ago. A roster of FBI agents all over they have to call one of these FBI agents up and say, hey, we've got this bomb at the Lock and Dam. And we see antennas on it. We want to use our electronic countermeasures. They have to call this FBI guy first. He has to turn around and call somebody else up in D.C., who in turn has to call someone in the FAA, and there's one other agency, I can't believe it is, to get them all to say, okay, yeah, you can do it. I'm sorry, it's too late. You know, this team should have responded, taken care of that threat, and got it over with. But, you know, my belief is that after the first couple of radio controlled devices, then that'll all change. So. I'm making one more trip back to Thailand. The same group, this coming July. They want me to turn around and talk again about weapons of mass destruction. I mean, when we talk about weapons of mass destruction with these guys, they don't think about nuclear devices and, you know, dirty bombs and what have you, although there's possible anywhere. They think about the chemical side. And the problem with it is that they found these jihadists or the Islamic movements, whatever, they're not dumb people. Some of these are extremely educated chemists, extremely educated electronic engineers. what do we find? They find that they went and did some basic high school, early, or freshman year college chemistry, and they make phosphine gas, and they put it in containers to blow it up. They know that they turn around, if they have a tanker, a compressed gas tanker of chlorine or anhydrous ammonia going down the highway, they can stop that, put an explosive device onto one of the nozzles, blow that off, and the downwind devastation, it would just be dramatic. And they know that they have to take steps that as I've been trained and others have been trained, we would do it that way. We try to be more remote, what have you. They go all hands on because they know that if they fail in that release, there's no way they can evacuate 10, 20, 30,000 people. You know, that's downwind within, you know, let's see, chlorine downwind, just a big tanker, 5 miles.